Watch the Mega Millions drawing tonight on Action News at 11. Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Jamie Apodi, meteorologist Cecily Tynan, Rick Williams, and Monica Malpass.
The target went by the code name Geronimo, but it was really Osama bin Laden. And tonight we are learning more about the daring mission inside his Pakistani hideout. All this as the White House debates releasing pictures of bin Laden's body.
It is Tuesday night, and the big story on Action News is the latest on the death of the former al-Qaeda leader. We knew that Navy SEALs rappelled from a helicopter to gain access to bin Laden's compound. But what we didn't know is that the helicopter carrying some of the SEALs made a hard landing. He was eventually blown up by U.S. forces after they killed bin Laden. We also learned that bin Laden was not armed at the time. Also tonight, the White House says it could release pictures of bin Laden's body, but they also say they are gruesome. Action News reporter Walter Perez has reaction to that issue coming up. But first, let's get the latest developments from ABC's TJ Winnick, who is live at Ground Zero in New York. TJ.
Rick, good evening. While the crowds are smaller than yesterday, they continue to descend on Ground Zero here. The president will arrive on Thursday. One of his main concerns now post-bin Laden is how to handle a country that is supposedly an ally in the war on terror.
We're learning more about the Navy SEAL raid that killed Osama bin Laden in this specially built luxury hideout.
Bin Laden's wife rushed the U.S. assaulter and was shot in the leg but not killed. Bin Laden was then shot and killed. He was not armed.
How much did Pakistan know about bin Laden's location, and when did they know it? U.S. officials now believe bin Laden lived in his compound for the last 5 or 6 years.
I think they are trying to determine themselves whether or not there were individuals within the Pakistani government or military or intelligence services who were knowledgeable about bin Laden's residence there.
Former Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf strongly denied the charges.
Any aspersions that the Pakistan military or the intelligence knew about him and that he was staying there, this is absolutely wrong.
U.S. intelligence analysts are combing through computer hard drives and papers found at bin Laden's lair that could provide a treasure trove of information about al-Qaeda and its Pakistani connections.
Well, what they're looking for is the plans for attacks that have been submitted for his approval, and what they're looking for is where the money comes from and where the money may be now sitting.
Then there is the question of whether or not to release gruesome photos of bin Laden's corpse. The White House wants to debunk a myth already building that he is still alive. At the same time, there is already concern about a possible retaliatory strike.
According to a Time magazine interview with CIA Director Leon Panetta, there are concerns about the relationship with Pakistan, so much so that the mission Sunday was kept a secret from the Pakistani leadership for fear it could jeopardize the mission. Reporting live at Ground Zero in New York City, TJ Winnick, Channel 6 Action News. Monica, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, TJ. And now Action News reporter Walter Perez live at the Art Museum in Philadelphia with more on this bin Laden photo debate. Good evening, Walter.
Hi, Monica. Well, there are those who simply want to see the physical evidence, but others say it's too gruesome, and you run the risk of inflaming radicals and terrorists around the world. Either way, as of right now, the White House is keeping those classified photos classified.
White House officials fell short of saying they will never release the photos, but they certainly have no plan to make them public anytime soon.
There are sensitivities here in terms of the appropriateness of releasing photographs of Osama bin Laden and in the aftermath of this firefight, and we're making an evaluation about the need to do that.
So for now, the evidence that Osama bin Laden is dead will have to stand on its own, evidence that's extremely difficult to refute. The military team that performed the raid collected DNA samples from bin Laden's body, which it's believed was compared to DNA of blood relatives. They also reportedly performed face recognition tests. Military experts say the Navy SEALs likely used a portable face recognition device which can scan the iris and face and then wirelessly transmit them back to an FBI database within seconds. Dr. Rob DeVidio, an associate professor of criminal justice at Drexel University, says the facial scans are nearly foolproof.
Not as foolproof as the DNA, but when you combine those multiple sources or multiple technologies to identify an individual, you get more certainty.
Still, even though White House and military officials say their evidence provides a 99.9% positive match with Osama bin Laden, there are still many who want to see the photos. We asked a bunch of people in University City if they think releasing the pictures of bin Laden's corpse is either appropriate or necessary. Some folks say it would offer peace of mind to skeptics, but others say, what's the point?
The only thing that could happen is it could just cause problems, so I don't think there's a need to do it.
And it's not but just because it's Osama bin Laden, it could be anybody. It's just not appropriate. You don't need to see it. The authorities that have got him, they've done the test, they've proved who it is, so let it lie, let it go, move on.
And in a disturbing, ironic twist here, if in fact DNA samples were cross-referenced with members of bin Laden's family, that means that bin Laden was identified the same way many victims were identified after 9/11. Reporting live from the Art Museum steps, Walter Perez, Channel 6 Action News.
All right, thanks, Walter. And while there are currently no credible threats against the U.S., security has been stepped up at places like 30th Street Station. The change was definitely noticeable today. Amtrak police, as you see, present with specially trained dogs. Agents from the Transportation Security Administration had a mobile explosive detection device, and they did screen some baggage. Action News reporter David Henry will have more on the stepped-up security in our area. That's coming up on Action News at 6. Meantime, 6abc.com is updated around the clock with the latest on the death of Osama bin Laden. You can click on the link on our homepage. You'll find all the latest stories in one convenient place.
All right, we have developing news now from Chester County. The SPCA removed 22 dogs and 5 cats from a home in West Callan Township this afternoon. Authorities say the animals were found inside of a small room. They were malnourished and living in unsanitary conditions. Action News reporter Kenneth Moulton is on the scene right now and is working to gather more details on this developing story, and he'll have a live report coming up on Action News at 6. PGW crews spent the day working to repair a gas main break in Frankfort. The line broke this morning near Tacony Street and Aramingo Avenue just before 7 a.m. Traffic was detoured in the area during the morning commute. PGW checked levels in nearby neighborhoods and determined that no evacuations were necessary. Still not clear what caused the main break.
Temperatures shot up into the 80s this afternoon, but now there's a chance of thunderstorms. Meteorologist Adam Joseph outside. The latest from AccuWeather. Here they come, Adam.
Yeah, they will hit some of our areas, but all of us dealing with this summer-like heat. So some of us will have to pay a price a little later this evening for this beautiful weather. The temperatures right now pretty much at the high for the day. Right now in Philadelphia, 82 degrees, 80 in Wilmington, 82 in Trenton, even in the low 80s in the Lehigh Valley. And if you're closer to the coastline, you're getting a sea breeze, so temperatures kicking back Wildwood and Atlantic City into the lower 70s. But you can see we're not the only ones enjoying the summer-like heat. Washington at 80 degrees, 83 in Richmond, 80 in Roanoke. But look to the west. Pittsburgh right now, 48 degrees. Buffalo, 44. There is a strong cold front that is approaching from the west, and Storm Tracker 6 3D Live will show that there is a line of showers and some thunderstorms. And the storms that are ahead of Pittsburgh, you can see right in the middle of the state, getting a little intense right now. And in fact, the National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm watch box for the central part of the state. It also does include Lancaster, Reading, and the Lehigh Valley through the Poconos until 10 o'clock. So we'll watch that line of storms around State College as they push to the east, mainly gusty winds, small hail, and some torrential rain. But again, it's just the far northwest suburbs that are dealing with the possibility of the severe weather tonight. When I come back inside, Monica, we'll talk about some much cooler weather, and that sunshine's going to be hard to find. We'll try to show you where you can find it in that 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Well, a frightening scene in New Zealand today. A tornado ripped through the town of Albany, tearing up this shopping center. Debris from the building could be seen flying through the air. When it was all over, parts of the roof and broken glass were left on the ground. At least one person was killed, 20 others hurt.
Well, a Philadelphia firefighter who was in hot water for posing shirtless is getting his old job back. Jack Slavinsky left a departmental hearing today pretty happy after receiving a